This video, I'll step through how to set up a project in Visual Studio 2022 to write an app for IGEMS with C#, which is a capability that IGEMS has added in the past couple of years. A little bit in the background, but if you go to IGEMS SE, go to Support, and then you scroll down, go to the CAD CAM area here, and then scroll down. We've got a bunch of documentation on how to do this. Introduction has links to the various commands that you can use to the IGEMS API and also the Genamo. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but if you need reference as far as what commands you can use, you can go there. And then they've also got a little bit of a step-by-step tutorial on how to do what I'm hopefully going to do here in this video. So you can refer to this also. It's pretty helpful. We'll go ahead and start up Visual Studio. And we're going to create a new project. And you want to do Windows Forum class library. First time through, you probably won't have this over here. You can start just typing into the search bar up here, Windows Forms class library. Click on that, and then next down here. And give it a name. Name your project, where it's going to be saved, lower right hand corner, next. And then you want the .NET 8.0 long-term supports. Click on create. And first thing we'll want to do is add a couple of references, the IGEMS API and the Genamo, so we can use commands from those two areas. So you can right click on dependencies over here. If you don't have the Solution Explorer view menu and then Solution Explorer, and this should open up. Right click on dependencies, add project reference, and then you go to browse. I've already got these here, but if those weren't there, the browse area down here at the bottom, click on the browse button. And then you want to go to Program Files x86. I'm in IGEMS 2026 bin folder. And you want to look for the IGEMS API.dll, add that. And then also add that Genamo. Add. And we got both of those checked. Click OK. If you explode dependencies and assemblies, you should see those now. And what you want to do is control and click on each of those, right click, properties, if it wasn't already open, and then in here you want copy local, set that to no, so you don't get a bunch of excessive DLLs in your folder. And then we want to right click on our project name up here and then go down to properties. And then in this window, click on debug and then open debug launch profiles UI. In this little window, click on the create a new profile icon, click on executable, click on browse, and then again back in the Program Files x86 IGEMS 2026 bin folder. This time we want the IGEMS exe. So when we debug our project here, it'll open up IGEMS. You can then close out of that window. You can close this, and up here at the top, you want to switch this to profile 1 for the debugging. And then probably a good thing to do next would be to add using IGEMS API, semicolon, enter, using igs.genamo. And then what we're going to do is just put in some basic code from this page here, just so we can test out that things are working okay. So we are going to take these two areas here, take this code, or just copy that, and come down to here, paste that in there. I'm going to change this. This will be the name for the app. And then we'll just change this. And we will accept this change down here. Let's just test that out, save that, click on Profile 1, which will start up IGEMS. You want to make sure that you don't already have IGEMS running when you do that. And we'll go to our Apps tab, go to our Settings, click on the plus button, navigate to where we've saved this project, drill down, bin, debug, net 8, center parts on sheet. It'll be at, I've got a bunch of them on here, so at the bottom here, I'm going to move it to the top. And I'm not going to worry about an icon right now. Click on this and it does something, so that's a good start. We'll just close out of there. Of course, ultimately, when you're ready to publish this, you go to your build area, configuration manager, you can switch this to release, close, and then when you do the build, it'll build a smaller DLL than the debug version. Switch that back. Okay, so this is the code that I came up with that will center some parts onto a sheet. So we start off creating a variable called sheets. There's a method in the IGEMS API select sheets. Basically prompt the user to drag a box around the sheets. And that'll create a list of sheets. And then if there are no sheets selected, it just exits. And then if there are sheets selected for each sheet in that list of sheets, it'll go through and we create a variable parts. So there's a method get parts inside sheets, which as described there gets a list of parts that are on the sheet. And then we can also get information about the sheet, various attributes about the sheet. And then with that, basically get the center point of the sheet, the sheet info.extents.center, and create some variables min-max that we'll use to find the center point of all the parts. So then for each part on the sheet, we have a get part info method to get information about the part. With that, we can then get the extents of each part. I've kind of broken it up here for X and Y. Of course, multiple different ways of doing this. So we find minimum, maximum X and Y for each part, and then find out if that's less than or greater to previous min-maxes. And then ultimately use that to find the center point of all the other parts. And that's what that would be. And then center point X, center point Y. And then down here, finally, we move the part. So each part, we move it by what we calculated up here from the difference from the center of the sheet to the center of the rectangle around the parts X and Y. And to test that, we can go up here and do our debug thing. And let's see. We'll just delete these off in here for now. So I've already added my file here. So start it, drag a box around it, enter, and they get moved. So that's a fairly simple app. I'm not an expert on C#, so I'm kind of hacking my way through learning this, but if you've got any experience with C#, you should be able to do things like this fairly easily. Any questions, let me know. Thanks.